As you heard at the top of the show, I spoke with Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro earlier today about this incredible milestone. Today, politics and the future of this great nation. Here's more of our conversation.
Governor, first off, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it.
Good to be with you.
It's so upsetting, I know, but the heat was just too dangerous today?
Little dangerous today. We want everybody to be safe, but it's not dampened the spirits. People have taken their celebration indoors. It's an incredible moment to be here in the birthplace of democracy, the city of Philadelphia.
When you look back just here, we have so many historical sites here. What does Philly mean to this country?
I mean, Tom, that's where it all happened. That's where we declared our independence from a king, came back a decade later and drafted the Constitution. That was really the scaffolding for the laws. A whole lot of words on those papers, but I think the most important thing that happened were on those cobblestone streets outside of Independence Hall when Ben Franklin emerged from the convention and a woman walked over to him and said, "Dr. Franklin, what do we have here? A monarchy or a republic?" Franklin looked her in the eye and said, "A republic if you can keep it." Those words, "if you can keep it," that's been our American calling card, a responsibility of each successive generation to do our part to defend our democracy.
This was going to be such a big day for Philadelphia. It was big yesterday. It was going to be big all weekend. Was it hard to sort of pull back and say we have to cancel, or the weather was that dangerous?
Well, look, the mayor made that call. I respect that decision. And I will just tell you, as the governor, we've deployed PEMA, our emergency response folks, all across this Commonwealth, particularly here to Philadelphia. We've sent assets out to ensure people are safe. We want everybody to have a safe time. We also want them to have an enjoyable time. And there's still tons of activities going on.
You're one of the most important people in the Democratic Party in this country. I want to ask you about some political questions. A lot of people thought the midterms was going to be a referendum on President Trump, specifically gas prices. Gas prices are coming down. Is it going to be tougher to face Republicans come November?
Everything costs more because of Donald Trump, whether it's the price at the pump, the goods you buy at the grocery, the food you buy at the grocery store, the goods you buy online. Everything costs more because of Trump's tariffs, Trump's war of choice, and Trump's economic policies. And you're here in Pennsylvania, where 500,000 Pennsylvanians either have or are about to lose their health insurance. 140,000 of our neighbors are losing food assistance, all because Donald Trump thought it would be a good idea to give a tax break to the people at the very top and pay for it on the backs of the middle class and people who are struggling to get by. That's wrong. People know that the reason their costs have gone up is because of Donald Trump.
As we celebrate America 250, NBC News recently did a poll, right? And it found that 90% of Republicans are proud to be Americans, but only 29% of Democrats. Why do you think that is?
Well, look, I don't know. I haven't seen the poll, but I can tell you I'm a proud, patriotic American. I feel blessed that I get to raise our 4 children here in the greatest country on the face of the earth, the greatest experiment in self-governance in the history of civilization. We have a lot of work to do. We can feel blessed to live in this country and feel purpose in the work we have to do ahead. And I think what you're seeing in those numbers is a desire for real change, a desire to see people have a better shot at the American dream. That's what I work on every day as governor of Pennsylvania.
On that point, a lot of headlines have been written about these Democratic socialists that have been winning primaries in your party. Are you worried that's going to turn away swing voters across so many states come November?
Well, look, I speak as the governor of the top swing state in the entire country. What I'm seeing across this country is real passion. People are passionate to show up and vote. And part of their passion is that they're feeling real pain as a result of the Trump administration, as a result of the president's policies that make things cost more.
But is that where the Democratic Party is going?
What I am seeing, though, is real passion and real serious pain as a result of Trump's policy. What I think is incumbent upon every nominated candidate and every elected official is to deliver real results to the people who put you in those offices. My motto as governor here of Pennsylvania is GSD, get stuff done. Improving schools, public safety, growing the economy, bringing down costs. It's incumbent upon every single elected official to deliver real results to people.
The president is calling it communism. He's saying the Democratic Party is turning into a party of communists. Does that worry you as you head into November?
The president says a lot of things. The vast majority are absolute nonsense. I know here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I'm proud of the fact that we not only have the support of Democrats, but a whole bunch of Republicans and independents as well. My focus is on doing what the framers did 250 years ago, on every debate, in every instance, finding ways to bring people together. Sadly, we have a president that tries to constantly divide us and rip us apart. My focus is on bringing people together.
You were the victim of political violence. Part of that was because of anti-Semitism. Where is anti-Semitism right now in America? How would you gauge it? How bad is it? Is it getting worse?
It is getting worse, and it is bad. And empirically, it is rising. And we are seeing that, whether it's the attack on me and my family while we slept, whether it's the attack on State Senator Weiner just a few days ago in San Francisco, and in countless stories in between. But I will tell you that notwithstanding the data that shows that anti-Semitism is rising and is a real problem in our country, by the way, in the Democratic and in the Republican parties, this is an American problem. This is a problem our civilization has to confront. What I see, though, are people, everyday Pennsylvanians, who do not behave that way, who love thy neighbor, who find ways to reach out to people of other faiths and bring people in, solve problems together, make their community stronger. I see a whole lot of light coming from our communities each and every day.
You mentioned the Democratic Party has a problem with anti-Semitism.
Tom,
yeah,
I said both parties.
Both parties, but you acknowledge your party has as well.
Do you think both parties do? I think this is an American problem.
I hear you. Do you think somebody who's Jewish can be the Democratic nominee for president?
I think what the American people want is someone who's going to go fight for them every single day, no matter their faith, their gender, their sexual orientation. I think people are so frustrated about are elected officials who don't deliver for them. I'm here in Pennsylvania, the ultimate swing state. I'm very open about who I am and my faith. And the reason why people of both parties, independents as well, have come together to support me is because they know I go to work every single day to fight for them and to deliver real results. I believe in the goodness of the American people, and I don't think the American people discount or disqualify anyone based on their personal characteristic. I think they want to hire someone who knows how to fight for them and get stuff done for them.
You ran uncontested for your primary. You are the governor here of Pennsylvania, as you said, the most important swing state. Some of your supporters would love to see you run for president. Will they see that day?
The only thing I'm focused on is running for governor and, more broadly, making sure we have a national referendum in these midterms on Donald Trump's chaos, cruelty, and corruption. I think you're going to see people show up in record numbers and say that is not who we are. That's not in keeping with what the founders started. We are better than this as Americans, even if our president doesn't show that example through his behavior every day. I'm only focused on these midterms.
Do you have a deadline when you will tell your supporters whether you will or will not run for president?
The only thing I'm focused on are these midterms, running for re-election, continuing to be an effective governor for the people of Pennsylvania.
Governor, what could someone like maybe a Governor Shapiro or another Democrat offer the American people that someone like J.D. Vance cannot?
I think what J.D. Vance is more continuation of division, taking away people's rights and freedoms. Look, as proud Democratic governor of Pennsylvania, I'm for giving every child of God a great shot at opportunity by having a wonderful public school. I'm for giving everybody safe streets. By the way, violent crime is down 15% on my watch here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I'm for making sure everybody's got a job in the community they love, whether in rural, urban, or suburban America. And I am for doing the work our founders started for expanding our freedoms. Donald Trump and his sidekick, J.D. Vance, have made our economy worse, have limited the amount of opportunity people have had, have taken funding away from our public schools, away from our cops who keep us safe, and who have limited our freedom. That's a clear contrast.
Final question. You mentioned the Founding Fathers earlier. What do you think about today, this point in American history, would surprise them the most and maybe make them the most proud?
Madison spent a lot of time in those halls worried that an executive would accumulate too much power. He wrote about this in the Federalist Papers. Given the Supreme Court decision, giving a president absolute and total immunity, given the way Donald Trump has engaged in corrupt practices and taken more power to himself than our constitutional founders had considered, I think Madison would be concerned about that. By the same token, I think Franklin and others understood that they could only start the job, that successive generations would have to carry it forward. Franklin, famously at the end of the Constitutional Convention, he had been fixated on the chair that George Washington sat in, the president's chair, because there was half of a sun on that chair, and he wondered whether the sun was setting on this new nation of America or rising for a new day. Franklin stood up and said at the end of the Constitutional Convention that he was proud to announce to the delegates that it was indeed a rising sun. I'm still filled with that sense of hope and optimism that our sun is still rising in America, even with the challenges that we face. This is a moment here at this 250th 4th of July of our nation's founding. This is a moment for us to stop and appreciate that even with all the work we have to do, the sun is still rising.
Governor, we'll leave it right there. We thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.